cute.
Yeah, we actually tried to rename them in Static.
We're live, baby.
Are we? Oh
We're
man, we are
live.
live.
We're live. That was my bad. I'm getting used to this. This is my bad. But we're live.
Yeah, see,
Yeah, this is why Dennison slides in here. All right, let's scooch, get cozy, man.
we gotta get real close.
We're going live on the Catchup podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we're talking about something really interesting this week.
We are. We
Yeah.
are. We're talking about some really, really interesting stuff. It's about something that I feel like, for the longest time was kind of a far off dream, or in some people's thoughts processes, nightmare.
Yeah. Right. Um,
So,
yeah. This is gonna be an interesting one. Here, we're gonna go live on Facebook here real quick.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You want to scooch in, my guy?
Yeah. I can scooch in a little bit more.
Here, we'll angle.
There we go. Yeah,
There we go. Yeah.
All right.
Give me some room.
You give me some.
Give me some room. All right.
There we go.
Let's go live on the Facebook.
Oh yeah.
Gonna share it once we go live.
Look at that. Done. And I'm gonna go ahead and get on the Facebook. Go ahead and share it myself.
Yeah.
So that way everyone knows.
That's
Everybody
right.
can check it out.
We don't want y'all to miss. Let me do this here. There we go.
Yeah.
We don't want y'all to miss this special 2 catch-up episode, 2 in-person catch-up, back to back.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite the opportunity for us. Man, Facebook pages look so whack. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, it's
It
always
changed.
kind of weird.
It changed again. And now I don't even know how am I sharing this? Sorry, guys.
Yeah, it's all good, bro. It's I'm actually also having a hard time
Yeah.
sharing the things.
I'm
I'm
not
not
even
getting the notification. Funny enough,
right.
but it's Facebook. They're always trying to change some stuff around,
Yeah.
update. Um,
Well, that's weird. Huh.
there we are.
You
I
good?
see us now. Yep. Going to go ahead and share it.
Awesome. Well,
So
let me
we're
just
all
try
shared
this.
out. There you go.
We'll
Perfect.
try that.
Out to everybody.
See if that works here.
Mhm.
Okay. So yeah, I hope everybody's doing well today. I'm gonna double check this on my end, make sure that we are shared
Mhm.
appropriately. Sure, does not appear to be so. Oh man, technology, man.
Yeah, man. It's always funny. Facebook loves to change some stuff around. So,
So that means we just shared it on the Facebook page.
we did. We
Yeah.
did. Well, I mean, yep. We
There
shared
it
it
is.
everywhere on the
Yeah.
Facebook page.
I
But
did that. I did
it's
that. You're good.
it's all good. It's
Okay. That share is gone. All right. Well, anyway, let's know
There
what
we
you
go.
guys are up to on this beautiful Thursday night.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that way, but I might have to go here.
I mean,
Man, Facebook, you making us look
well,
stupid.
just go to home. Go to home.
No, man, we got it. Check it out.
All right. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and share it off right there.
Boom.
There we go.
That could have been so much easier, Facebook. What kind of business y'all running over here, Facebook?
Mm-hmm.
Man.
It's almost like you guys are firing employees.
Yeah.
If you guys want a little bit more context about it, you can check out our previous episode where we kind of talked a little bit about that. So
yes, indeed. Man, thanks for jumping on the YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for jumping on the Facebook live stream.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and hit record here.
Yeah, go ahead and do it up.
All right, 3, 2, 1. So we have a really interesting one today. This is actually breaking news on the Catchup podcast, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So this one is about man-made meat. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you, zero context. Would y'all eat it? Would y'all eat some man-made meat, man?
Some man-made meat, man. You know what? I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try it out.
You're gonna give it a shot?
Yeah, exactly. Might as well try it out. See what happens.
Man, I don't know. So here's my thing. like just made in a lab, like that it seems like either a superhero origin story or or it could be like Dawn of the Planet of the Apes
Hmm.
and we all die and the apes take over. Um
I mean, that's one way to think of it.
that's
Yeah.
one way to think of it, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, we're gonna give you all some context here. Basically, this company has gotten FDA approval to move forward with cultural
Cultured.
cultured chicken,
Yeah.
man.
Cultured chicken.
So it was taken from a cell of a chicken
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and then grown in a lab to become an entire meat of chicken. I'm assuming it's probably ground chicken.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I would imagine that's probably the easiest way. They're probably not, growing a whole chicken breast.
You're not growing a breast. You're not gonna grow the
Exactly.
thighs. Yeah,
Yeah, you're not growing the wings. You
exactly.
just want the meat.
Yeah, you're gonna. Yes, exactly right. You're gonna get the ground chicken. So,
Hmm.
like I said, I assume that that's what this is here. Um, so with that said, um, they're gonna move forward. They still have to get uh, approval from the U.S. Department of Agriculture,
Hmm.
which that's a whole piece of this discussion that we really want to touch on,
Yep.
and one other government agency as well. But if it were to be approved, would that be something that you would be interested in eating?
Hmm.
We're going to talk about that, what this means for the future of the food industry and our environment. So stick around. Let's go ahead and get into it. Man, we got this dual layer
Yeah, we
action.
do. We do, man.
Yeah.
Wait, there we go. Look at that.
And
Nice and
come up
close.
on him, man. Come up on him a little bit more.
A little bit
You're too close, man.
closer.
All right. Well, let's
Look at
see.
that.
Look at that. We got followers on here.
Exactly. We
Thank
got
you guys.
followers. We
Thanks
got
for
it going.
thanks for jumping on, man. I got something going on with my hair, so I hope y'all don't tune out because of that. All right. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. What's going on, everybody? I'm John,
And I'm Dennison.
and this is the Catchup. Yeah.
Oh man.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Before we jump into our topic, we want to let you guys know the 3 best ways to support the show.
Hmm.
2 of them are free. 1, jump on the live stream with us if you're listening on the audio. We are live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube. We have audience on both right now. It allows us to have a real-time conversation with you guys about the topics that we're discussing. We learn from y'all. Y'all learn from us. We have a two-way discussion. It's the best part of the show. It's what makes it the Catch-Up. So go ahead and follow us on either platform. Just type in our podcast title. You'll see us there. Number 2, give us a rate and review wherever you're listening, wherever you're watching. Every single platform has a way to give a like or a rating or a subscribe. And each one of those will tell the algorithm that people are reacting to the show and it will help us continue to grow. Number 3, you can go to our shop if you want to support us financially. That is linked wherever you're listening, wherever you're watching as well. And you can support us financially by getting you some very cool merch, some Catchup Podcast merch. We got t-shirts, we got hoodies, we got beanies, got hats, we got long sleeves. Yeah, just in time, man.
Exactly.
Just in time for the cold. So check it out. And yeah, get you something nice over there and you'll help us out as well.
Yep.
So with that said, let's go ahead and jump into the topic, man.
Hmm.
So, like we said, cultured chicken, right? And they want to do
Hmm.
cultured beef.
They do. They do. I think that's next on the list, but they want to go ahead and start with the chicken.
Yeah. And so if they did that, really the next step again is gain approval from the Department of Agriculture.
Hmm.
Now, should this get approved, I want to say this 50,000 pounds. They have the capability of making 50,000 pounds of cultured chicken, which is a lot. But if you really think about it, it's not as much as you think. Because let's say, I feel like most packages of chicken,
Hmm.
well, again, if it's ground chicken, it would be a little bit lighter,
Yeah.
I guess. So let's say that's about 1.5 pounds per package, right?
Okay.
It'd be about 35,000 packages of this cultured chicken, right? And then
Hmm.
that's spread across America, probably the Midwest, if I had to guess.
Hmm.
And so really, you're not going to see that many packages.
Yeah,
in my
yeah.
opinion.
Yeah, but that's like first year
Mhm.
statistics most likely, right?
Yeah.
As the process gets cleaner and easier and stuff like that, and ramps up more, they'll
Right.
probably be able to, really just manufacture those chicken packets for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Just roll them out, man.
Exactly.
And I actually, that'd be something I would like to know, which the research that we did on this, it didn't say, but I would like to know how long it takes to make these because I think that is
Hmm.
a very big, important factor in it. And
Yep.
then, oh, here we are. Here we are. After samples are collected, so this, they take a sample of a live chicken
Hmm.
through a biopsy, right?
Hmm.
Kind of weird to think about it, because biopsies are not, they don't feel good, right?
Yeah.
But they collect the samples, they feed a blend of micronutrients and are placed in a bioreactor to form the meat, which takes roughly 3 weeks. Okay. That's crazy to think about.
3 weeks for some chicken, man. That is kind of crazy.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's crazy. And how does that sell? They probably take it from the breast.
Hmm. Most likely.
How does it grow to create more of that breast?
I mean, it's just, they're probably using the normal techniques of just cell multiplication, right? You put it in a good environment, you have the right amount of nutrients, and it'll just kind of grow and grow and grow, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of that same type of deal. It's just making sure that there's an environment that allows that.
Yeah. Yeah. What's interesting is so yeah, that's an interesting factor too. What's interesting is this presents just as many health problems as I feel real organic meat does
Mm,
because of how the in this case chickens
hmm.
are cared for, how they're taken care of, the environment that they're in, and then how that meat's packaged and all that kind of stuff. This, if you start cutting corners down the line to keep up with production,
Hmm.
you know,
But I mean, they're not making full sentient chickens.
right,
They're just making the meat.
right,
So the meat probably doesn't need to be as cared for as much because there's less systems that are having to go into it to keep it alive, right?
sure, sure, yeah, that's true. I just think of, I don't know, I maybe there aren't as many possible damages through the process that you can make, if you
Yeah.
cut corners on that. But still, here's an interesting fact too. We'll come back, circle back on this one,
Mm.
but experts estimate the meat will cost about $17 per pound, but could go to $40 at the grocery store, even $100 at a restaurant
That's crazy.
with markups.
Per
That's
pound.
per pound.
That's a lot. That is a lot for some manufactured chicken, man.
Yes. So the question remains, would you eat some cultured chicken? Not only that, but would you pay that extra price for it, right? Um, so the reason, before we get back into that, the US Department of Agriculture,
Hmm.
they have to sign off on this too. And the FDA already gave it the approval. That's a big one.
Yep.
But because this is based off of livestock, based off of, you know, yeah, agriculture, do you think that this has any hurdles in its way before we're all eating scientifically engineered chicken?
I do think it does have some pretty big hurdles to go, because I mean, right, if it has to go against the Department of Agriculture, I
Mhm.
mean, of course, there it makes sense, right? To an extent, there you have to have like good. Just because the FDA says, yeah, it's probably okay for consumption, doesn't mean that it's okay for it to be, out for everybody else, right? Because you now need to compare it to live chicken, right?
Right.
What are the tastes like? Um, is it kind of, I guess, really and truly, you gotta kind of make sure that it's being, like you were talking about earlier, it's being held up in a good, clean environment, all that the
Mhm.
good stuff like that. Just the same amount that you would do with like chicken slaughterhouses or or anything like that.
Yeah.
So just kind of making sure of that. So with all that being said,
Mhm.
I feel I'd try it out, man. I'd try me some good clean cultured chicken, man,
Yeah.
with the fedora and everything.
Yeah, that chicken was listening to vinyl and all that. It's
Exactly.
nice
That
and
chicken has been
cultured.
listening to the podcast, man.
Right.
He is
Yeah.
cultured,
Yeah. Well
you know.
cultured. Absolutely. Has a stogie.
Exactly.
Chicken just has a stogie, man. Yeah. A pipe, actually.
Well,
Yeah, I would try it too,
mm-hmm.
but um, on the Department of Agriculture side of things, this is my thing. I'm not sure. I think this may even be a bigger hurdle than the FDA because the FDA
Oh
has
yeah.
to make sure it's safe for us to eat.
Mm.
Would it pass the Department of Agriculture? My question is, are there inherent biases with that? Because it's not necessarily going to just destroy farmers, kind of like how ethanol, gasoline, they say it helps corn farmers, right?
Yeah.
To some extent, because that's what ethanol is made from is corn oil.
Mm-hmm.
But uh with this, you're basically cutting out chicken, but you're literally cutting out a chicken as well.
Yep.
So there is still a need for that chicken. How does that impact uh livestock owners?
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
they are
That's true.
they are they concerned that their chicken may not be worth as much depending on what the biopsy looks like? How much of the chunk is being taken out of the chicken, you know?
I think that is a good question. Like, yeah, exactly. How much is being like really used in that chicken
Mhm.
but I mean, yeah, I mean, I feel like, at least at first, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that it's gonna matter that much, but I do think that the Department of Agriculture is going to think long term,
Yeah.
because yeah, you're right. If these chicken farmers, if there are big companies that are using chicken farmers, and then they find that cultured meat is cheaper to produce
Mhm.
eventually, right? And um and comes with less social stigmas or whatever like that, then of course they're going to move directly over to that, and any of those local farmers who are part of that process are going to kind of have the issues. They're going to miss out on a lot of stuff, so I
Yeah.
do see that.
Yeah, that's mainly my problem also, or mainly my concerns with it. And also, and you mentioned the marketing component of this that I want to touch on too, but
Mm,
my other thought of concern they may have is is this okay for the animal?
hmm.
Because you talk about biopsy. Anybody who's ever had a biopsy before, that's painful, right? We put so much um prevalence on treating the animal humanely,
Hmm.
even when we are using them for their meat, right? And would that either be in their mind justified excuse as to not approve this because
Mm.
you are inflicting pain on the animal, depending on what that looks like? I don't know what biopsying a chicken looks like. I can only guess though, based off of what it looks like for a human. But number two, um, if not a justified excuse, would it be an unjustified excuse they use as to not hurt the chicken industry,
Hmm.
right? Because at the end of the day, the U.S. Department of Agriculture is made up of people who own this land, this property, these livestock.
Yeah.
Understandably so, of course, but there is going to be a little bit of biases there, and I don't know what that will look like.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that is a valid question. How much is it going to affect them? How much is it going to affect the amount of land that they have, or the amount of land that they're actually um, keeping hold of? Because who knows, the amount of chickens that they have um, are the only thing that is actually paying to keep their land going.
Right.
But I do think, though, this does open up another avenue for those chicken farmers to move over to other animals. Now, of course, I'm not a farmer, right? So I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know how that works, and I don't know how easy that is.
Yeah.
But I do feel that it can open up like the amount of area that you had now that was used for chickens for, say, other types of, if you want, you can go to other types of meat, which I do understand that that does take on a different type of burden, but you can also do crops,
Mhm.
um, because there is an environmental impact,
Mhm.
of our livestock.
Yeah.
Of course, it's far more prevalent to see it in with cattle farmers, but I think there is a big environmental impact, and as time has gone on, that impact has grown significantly because, well, one, of course, there's more humans, right, on the planet, but
Yeah.
it's also because of just the sheer amount of want to and need to eat more,
Yeah.
meat.
Yeah. Well, and I will say switching from livestock to agriculture, that will be
Hmm.
tough.
Yeah.
But I think based off of my time living in Kansas and my time working in the news, there are two types of farmers and ranchers, etc.
Hmm.
The ones that are really successful are the ones that adapt and they
Hmm.
adjust. And I think um, wrongly so, there's this kind of stereotype of who a farmer is,
Hmm.
right? Set in their ways, kind of a personality. Typically not the case, not for the successful ones. So there would be an opportunity, I think, for them to adjust their business model
Yeah. Yeah.
because their livelihood depends on it. And really not just their livelihood, because no one just is going to sell chickens for cultured chicken. Like no one's
Yeah.
going to just do that. So really the world depends on them and their success too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't think anybody wants to take farmers out of the game, or ranchers or what have you.
Yeah, plus at the same time, the US already does subsidies for certain farmers when it comes to. I know that it's mainly prevalent in different like portions of agriculture, like if they're doing, like you already talked about, corn and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
they could do something similar to that with the chicken, right? To
Yeah.
help more farmers transition over to a different type of source.
So yeah, and you're right, and that could be a difference maker for that program as well.
Hmm.
Let's talk about the environmental impact.
Yeah.
What to you do you see as a positive for the environment by having chicken
Hmm.
being made? Uh, is the way that's done now.
Yeah. Well, I'm.
Man-made chicken, right? If you're just jumping on the live stream,
Hmm.
that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Man-made meat has been approved by the FDA. It's pending Department of Agriculture approval.
Hmm.
And um, so that's what we're talking about. Would we eat it? Does it have success? How will it impact the industry and the grocery store? All of that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, what do you see are the positive benefits for the climate from man made cultured chicken?
Well, I would say that that's less like um, greenhouse gases being
Mm,
emitted into the atmosphere because, we've already seen that, a higher amount of cattle, essentially, or cattle or just any sort of livestock has increased the amount of actual like greenhouse gas emissions, right? Of course, it's like I said earlier, it's more cattle wise than it is chicken, but I think chicken is just nothing more than a stepping stone to get to where we are with cattle.
mm,
Um, but yeah, it has shown that it plays a significant role in the amount of greenhouse gases that are being put in. I think at one point, the amount of greenhouse gases that are being emitted from livestock in general are kind of getting closer to um, essentially where we are with car emissions, right?
mm.
The vehicle emissions. And also that's the other thing too. Usually the greenhouse gases that livestock put out are a little bit more potent, like methane and stuff like that,
Yeah.
are a lot more potent than say CO2, which is
Yes.
another big thing, right? So it's and as we move towards a more greener future, I think livestock is going to have to be something that we really decide to tackle. And I know it's not the funnest topic to talk about and the funnest thing to like be like, oh man, I'm jazzed, I'm gonna not eat as much meat. Like no one wants to hear that. And
Mm,
so I feel like this is a great way to kind of herd us into that new direction.
sure. Sure. Um, I like what you did there with the pun, by the way. Heard
Yeah. Well,
heard
thank you.
us in there. Yes.
Thank you.
Um, do you think it will? So again, obviously, our understanding of this process relatively limited. Um, but do you think that there would be a actual benefit? Because at the end of the day, they're having to culture that chicken
Mhm.
from a live chicken,
Yeah.
or they're culturing that cow from a live cow, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I would say probably so. Maybe not like a large amount at first, but I'm thinking that there would be an impact though, right?
Yeah, no, I think so. I think, I do think, yeah, exactly. I think it's a slow ramp up.
Mhm.
It's gonna be something that eventually we'll get to where we're just gonna have the small amount of livestock that we would have for, um, just sorry, just for, regular old, cultures. Yeah, to create the cultures, you know?
Gotcha. Yeah. No, I think that basically you're pulling a chicken from another chicken. I mean, you're basically getting double the output from, or you could look at like having the emissions
Yep.
per output, I guess you could say. So yeah, I think it would make a difference in the end.
Exactly, and plus, well, just one thing that I thought
Yeah.
about
No,
is
yeah.
plus I don't even know if the how many, cells, I guess, that they would get and that they can use
Right. I
per
was wondering
chick
that
for
too.
per biopsy, right? So
Yeah.
if you can only just have, like, 1 chicken, and you get like 20, 30 cells from
Yeah.
that one chicken, right? Then that means, you're really quadrupling, the amount of supply that you're actually getting just from one chicken. And then
Yeah.
of course you get a couple of other chickens and you just kind of keep it going on. Because I'm sure there has to be some sort of biodiversity or whatever like that
Sure.
that is required for it. But
Yeah. Or are you just taking a scoop, like a miniature ice cream scoop, and scooping out a piece of chicken, bro?
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how it works. Okay, with that said, the marketing side of things, and we can get into more of our opinions on it. The
Mm,
marketing side for you, what do you think? Do you think this will people will take this up? Because to me, it's gonna have to get some good branding. If you're talking man-made meat,
hmm
if you're talking cultured chicken, I don't picture people eating that off the bat, because you now are in such a world of organic this and organic that. Not
uh-huh.
nothing against that at all, but this is kind of the exact opposite idea on the surface, right? On the
Yeah.
surface level, we're talking organic, grass fed, no antibiotics. On the surface of this, you're developing it in a lab. So to me,
Yeah.
that seems like an uphill battle marketing that.
No, I mean, I don't think you're wrong. I
Mhm.
think, it is kind of an uphill battle, but at the same, I think it'll be the same kind of battle that we already have with GMOs, right? Genetically modified, foods.
Right.
So I think it'll be about the same battle as that. It's just genetically also modified in some ways, or just,
Yeah.
cultured, meat.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be on that same plane, but at the same time, you can technically say a lot of those same things, right? Zero antibiotics. You can't say organic, of course, and you can't say grass fed, but I mean, you
Yeah.
can you can say that it was raised in the right environment in some ways, right? And you're not pumping in certain types of chemicals that are required to even keep that livestock alive, right?
Sure.
Because you're just growing it. So I think if they phrase it right, you can make it so that, it appears that in some ways it becomes a healthier alternative.
Yeah. I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah,
It's all about that naming convention.
yeah.
I don't know.
Think about the Impossible Burger.
Oh God.
How much that's had to. I mean, it's still an uphill battle for them, but it's. I feel like it's gotten a lot better
Yeah, I
over
mean,
time.
it's an uphill battle for them because it's impossible to eat. But yeah, but yeah, the idea is great. Um, but with that, I mean, just the entire idea of, okay, question about this. I
Mm,
don't know if you'll know the answer, but let's say that that chicken did have antibiotics, hormones, all that kind of stuff, all that stuff that people don't want in their meat.
mhm,
You biopsy it, and those cells have that in there. Oh man, Christina likes the Impossible Burgers. Oh man, I done, I done triggered our target audience, bro.
Exactly. Oh,
My
no.
bad. My bad. Um, to be fair, I actually haven't tried them yet. I just have heard reviews. But anyways, you take a biopsy of that chicken.
Yeah.
The cell has those in it, right? So when it
Mhm.
reproduces, is it not reproducing those antibiotics, those hormones, spreading that through other cultured cells?
Technically, yes,
Mm,
or at least I would imagine so. This is me guessing, but I would
sure.
imagine though, think that those chickens, right, that they're doing biopsies on are raised in a way that you don't have any of that stuff, right? Because we
Yeah.
already have antibiotic chicken and free range and all that other good stuff. I figure you do the same thing to the chickens that you're doing a biopsy on, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a non-issue
Okay.
over time, really and truly. I think right now, of course, they might be doing something similar to that, just to really get the product out there.
Yeah.
But I think once they get started, you just do that.
Gotcha.
You could put those labels on there too.
You could, yeah. I
This
I
was
think
cultured from a free range chicken.
well, and that's probably what it will be for
Mm.
marketing is they'll give it some cool name like I don't know, bio chicken.
Hmm.
No, something better than that.
I don't know. Hey, they could just call it cultured chicken and have like a little sunglasses on there.
I know, right? They just give him a little pipe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, he's reading Shakespeare next to his study. I feel like they could do that too.
Hmm.
I think that they'll probably give it some fancy name, and they'll put what you just said. This was cultured in a lab
Yeah.
as like the subtext, right? And
Yeah.
so it's kind of like smart chicken,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Or well, go ahead, sorry.
Well, yeah, just anything like that,
Yeah.
and I think that they'll probably take advantage of the naming. Again, for me personally, I would say that this has a chance, but the biggest uphill battle is the next thing it faces with the Department of Agriculture because
Yeah.
I don't know what the inside of that department looks like, but if it's anything like other government departments, they have their own agenda sometimes and may not want to cut that pie with cultured food.
Hmm.
But with that too, the opposite side. Well, I blanked on where I was going with this, but I did want to say, oh, I remember the price. I think is another big hurdle, right?
Yes.
So that's crazy
Yes.
because groceries are already going up, right?
Hmm.
And to the point of everything that we just discussed, the marketing side of this is going to be well, it's better for the environment. It's just as good, if not even better, for your health. The quality control is higher.
Hmm.
All of this in theory, of course, but that is what the idea would be.
Yeah.
And yet, as much as people complain about grocery prices now, and rightfully so,
Hmm.
but you're going to face an even higher bill, as we read here, estimated at $17 a pound. You know what? I go to Sam's Club, I can get 4 big, juicy chicken breasts, bro.
Hmm.
Depending if they're on sale, I can get them for $10. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
I know we've gotten like some nice size frozen chicken breasts from
Mhm.
Target, and I think we're only paying something like somewhere around $10 or
Yeah,
something
for
like
those
that.
5 chicken breasts. I
Yeah,
know the
yeah.
ones you're talking about.
Yeah, and I'll say you're right. You're right. That's a hard price to beat. It really is. But I think though, it's just like anything, right? It's like any new technology, because I think that's the other thing that we have to think about it is this is new technology, right?
Right.
Any new technology is expensive, right? Think about the quick and easiest one. Well, how we'll just go for cell phone stuff, right? Think about the first smartphone,
Yeah.
super expensive. The first iPhone, super expensive. The
Yep.
first foldable phone, very expensive. It's gone down in price. I'm not gonna say that it's a bargain or anything,
Sure.
but I mean, as production ramps up, as new innovations start, you get things, you figure out ways to to make it cheaper
Mhm.
and to do it more efficient.
Yep.
And so I feel like that's what's going to happen. Of course, yeah, that first round of chickens, right, is going to be expensive.
Yep.
We are going to see something like $17 a pound, which is crazy. But um, over time, I will see us shrink that price down to probably be far more competitive. That's the reason why, at least at this very early stage, right, we probably don't even have to worry too much about it being a true chicken.
Right. And they did that for a long time with regular chicken versus organic.
Mm-hmm.
Christina's jumping on the comments. She says, I feel like though, if they're going to sell it like this is better for the planet, the cost is on the consumer again and not corporations, which is true.
Yeah, very true.
With a lot of these things, a lot of these changes to go green, it's been us who has to pay for it, which is why it hasn't been adopted as thoroughly.
Mm-hmm.
Guaranteed the reason that car manufacturers are going electric is because the government subsidies for it have increased immensely, right?
Yep.
And so they see a financial opportunity for themselves. And yeah, I mean, $17. Here's the thing: I hear what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I totally get where you're coming from with it. The consumer at the grocery store is not going to care. You know what I'm
Oh, of
saying?
course.
Yeah, they're not going to care. That's the biggest thing because again, we were talking about 5 chicken breasts. Dang near, it's like 4 1/3 pound
Yep.
for $10, and yet you want to pay 1 pound, $17.
Yep.
Could be $40 at the grocery store. I don't know who that appeals to because the people who would spend that, they don't go to the grocery store themselves. They have their driver Jenkins do it for them.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. The people who are actually going to be paying for it are going to, of course, be the people who can afford it easily.
Mhm.
But at the same time, um, I feel like it's just going to be one of those things. I feel like at least people are going to try it, right? I feel
Right.
like there's probably going to be somebody who's going to try it out, even if that's not their regular thing. It'll be their only meal, or their only it'll be a quick meal, or you'll dash it with two different things,
Sure.
and that might be another thing, right? Maybe it's a special occasion, right? And you get some. I mean, it sounds weird to get a cultured meat
Right.
for a special occasion,
Yeah,
but
Valentine's Day.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. But I mean, hey, you could phrase it that way, right? You can
right.
market it to be that way, where
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
it's a special day. Let's get some cultured chicken,
This Valentine's Day, get your special someone the thing they really want.
cultured
Your
chicken.
cultured meat.
Exactly.
Oh man. Yeah, that'd be the only way to sell that is make it
Yeah.
edgy.
Yeah.
Make it
Well,
super edgy.
yeah, and I think the article even said like they were saying that in restaurants, right? If restaurants were to serve it, it would be something like $100, which is a lot for
Right.
chicken. For
Yeah.
chicken, it's a lot. It's a lot. But again, you can serve it as that premium option, and then as the price goes down, which I think it is going to take a while for it to get in line with regular
Yeah.
chicken, but you know.
Chick-fil-A will never. That's all I'm gonna say.
I don't know. They might, man. They might have one item on their menu that's the cultured chicken,
I don't know, man. It's God's chicken, bro. It's
man.
God's chicken. Gotta keep it as natural as possible. Would I try it? Because I know you answered earlier.
Yeah.
Would I try it? I would try it. Um, I don't know if I would like it.
Mm.
I don't
You don't know,
know.
man. It could just taste just like chicken.
But again, I think we're like assuming, although it did say there was like a chicken fillet that they would do, not
Hmm.
Chick-fil-A, but chicken fillet.
Chicken fillet.
And we're assuming it's ground chicken otherwise. So I don't know.
Yeah.
If you make it like a salsa verde with some ground chicken in it, that could be pretty scrumptious.
Yeah,
But
man. Get some chicken tacos.
exactly some ground chicken tacos.
Hmm.
Taco Bell will definitely take this up.
Oh,
If it gets
man.
cheap, Taco Bell's like, we already do man-made chicken, man.
Yeah.
It's just a little different than how
Ex-
you guys do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We already have our mystery meat, so it's not
Yeah.
too much different.
Yeah,
It's
no,
not
it's
too far away.
the idea is the same. It's still good for
Yeah.
the environment too.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I would try it, but by no means like it would have to be a special circumstance. It's offered to me. It's part of an event.
Hmm.
By no means at this price would I buy it. And that's the thing is I get what they're going for. I think it does still help the livestock industry and potentially even impacts the need for genetically modifying livestock so they produce faster, reproduce faster,
Mhm.
and grow faster. Maybe we can take that out entirely, which is bad news for Monsanto, but good news for livestock owners. They don't. That's an expense they don't have to make.
Yep. Yep.
And so, if you're able to use more of that animal to produce more, I mean, I think that could end up being very inherently good for the government or for the environment,
Yep.
and good for the farmers as well, and good for our health and well-being if it all continues to check out.
Yep.
But again, at this price, bro, I'm not gonna do that. That's insane. That's insane. I'll just get that grass-fed, no hormone raised beef, man.
No, I mean, I think genetically, or not genetically modified, but cultured Bessie over there. I think cultured Bessie is gonna taste pretty good, man. And it's finally when I can just go right over and just, I mean, before, right, you had to worry about if Bessie was farm, if Bessie had plenty of stuff to munch on,
Right, right, right.
and she
Bessie be
wasn't
fed.
being exactly, she wasn't being poked,
Yeah.
you know. So this time I don't have to worry about that.
No,
Peter's happy.
I'm happy.
Exactly. I'm happy. We're all good, man.
Right.
Um, cultured Bessie is pretty good right there.
Culture
I'm
Bessie.
telling you, man.
Yeah. I think
And you got foghorn leghorn cultured chicken too, man. It's great.
I was just thinking about when you again with the marketing side of this, you're talking about that. And I was like, man, the only time you ever talk about culture and food is when you leave something too long in the fridge without throwing it out, man. I'm like, they really got to figure this one out. If they're going to get people to take that up.
Yeah, but I mean that's the thing, right? I mean, I don't think anybody's gonna really think of it that way. Like, man, I remember when I left my sandwich out in the fridge, and you know, it's growing.
I'm just saying, man, they'll figure it out. I'm sure they will. There's a lot of money in food.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's how we all survive. Man, I do want to know what the macros in cultured chicken would look like. Can I still make some gains with it? It's going to be high in protein, low in carbs.
They could. I mean, hey, if thinking about it, right, if they can get it going right with the cells and stuff,
Yeah.
if you can genetically modify those cells, you could technically. Now, of course, that would go through another round of FDA approval and all sorts of other stuff. But if you could technically genetically modify those cells, you could make it to where it has almost zero fat content on that chicken, which chicken already has really low fat content. But
Yeah.
anyway, zero fat content grown on that chicken. You can make it to where it's a higher protein count, or at least denser protein count, and you can maybe even make it to where it's a higher for the nerds out there, a higher viability rate when it comes to how much protein you can actually take in.
Right.
So they can make it to where it's like maybe 100% viability, or not viability, but efficacy. I think I'm pretty sure it's something like that.
Sure.
But essentially just how much your body can actually absorb, because there's plenty of foods out there that are high in protein, but we're only able to, our bodies are only able to actually use about like 5% of it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Right. Well, so higher solubility, I think is what you were saying.
yeah,
Whatever.
well, it's something like that. Yeah.
Right. So the idea.
Bioavailability.
Oh,
Sorry.
there you go.
I had to remember it. Yeah,
There it
higher
is.
bioavailability.
Mhm.
So
So me, like, they already kind of do that thing.
mhm.
They genetically will help there be less fat in these animals.
Yeah.
Sometimes, not all the time.
Leaner
But
chicken.
leaner
Leaner chicken.
chicken.
Mhm.
But with that said, the real key of that, which again I think this does, if we're making man-made meat, essentially open the door for enhancing protein,
Mhm.
lowering fat and other things, but specifically enhancing the protein. I think that is one way you could sell this.
Yeah, that would be good.
Is, oh man, if bodybuilders were like, okay, well, if I spend $17 a pound of chicken, I'll make all kinds of gains. Like they're gonna do it, man.
That's true.
It doesn't matter how much protein your body can take in a day. And spoiler alert, it's not as much as you think. But they would still do that, right?
Yeah.
And so it's an interesting point that you make there.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, you could also make it to where I mean, I feel like this too also opens the door for 3D printed food.
yeah, right. Wait, okay. Would you eat that though?
I think so.
Isn't it
I'm gonna
Play-Doh
try
at
it
the end of
out.
the day?
No, no, it isn't because I mean, sure, we can say that it's Huel in a form that looks like a hamburger, right?
Right.
But we already have the technology, and I think I've talked about this way back in the pod on one of our other episodes. But we have the technology to literally create any taste that we want.
Right.
So if
So it's gonna be soy basically.
sometimes it's soy, but that's the thing, right? If you can create cultured chicken, then I would imagine the next step would be 3D cultured chicken, and you would be able to speed the process up. So then you could 3D print the chicken cell, so it's actual chicken, just without any of the problems or whatever.
Hmm. Okay. Gotcha. Christina jumping on the comments, she says Jimmy Neutron pioneered it. You gotta give this man his credits. Um, yeah, I don't know. It would just I remember that episode too. It would depend on what the what's made from, you know? I mean, that would be to me that's like several years away from behind this.
Oh yeah, I mean, I would probably say that we're probably at least a decade or two away from it, but I do feel like that's that next step, right? Because yeah, sure, if we do like soy, right, and then we create the taste to be a synthetic of what an actual hamburger is, and then it creates that. Uh, I mean, what's the problem with that, though, right? At
Mhm.
I mean, I guess that's another avenue of ours because we
Yeah.
already know environmentally it's for us to properly I'm kind of going all over the place, but I'm going to bring it back together.
No,
But
yeah.
essentially because it really is a multifaceted deal, but we already
Mm.
know environmentally that we need to lower our carbon footprint in general, right?
Sure.
Not just for individuals, but really just the world in general. So lowering livestock is a big one. And um and if you can create essentially 3D printed food or that has no emissions or whatever like that, taste the exact same. It's something that we're going to have to hit eventually anyway, because carbon capturing can only go so far. Lowering our emissions for vehicles can only go so far.
Mhm.
Um, Livestock has to hit. It's going to have to take a hit in some form or fashion. So I think the culture works, and even going to that farther step of 3D printing stuff. Uh, Helps even more. So
Yeah.
I think if you were to work with those in tandem almost, right? Um, I think we could have something really really great.
Man, I would be more likely to eat cultured chicken than I would be 3D printed chicken, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey man, I'm gonna try it. As long as it tastes like chicken, I'm good to go.
Right,
That's
right,
probably
right.
not that's the easiest thing to make anything
It's
taste
all
like
gonna
that.
taste like chicken, and I know
Yeah.
even the 3D printed beef will taste like chicken.
Yeah.
No, I would have to know what that process would look like, which
Yeah.
that would be interesting. That'd be a whole different ball game. And see that really kind of goes against what we were talking about of how this wouldn't put out, livestock ranchers and things like that. That would completely do away with the need for them.
It would slow
You know.
it, I mean, well, I wouldn't think it would I don't think it would take it away. The only reason why I say that is because it's similar to what I see for like electric vehicles, right? I feel like we're going to get to a point to where it's a premium,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure I don't think it'll decimate them. Sure, it'll probably take away a decent portion. Um, but again, we have there. I feel like if we do it correctly with subsidies and stuff like that, you can easily migrate people over to whatever the next agriculture thing that's necessary. But I do feel like it can just be a premium thing, right?
Sure.
I do organic chickens and organic beef and stuff like that,
Yeah.
rather
Yeah.
rather than this cultured. stuff.
which that is the interesting part about this cultured meat discussion to me is I would think it would be cheaper. I understand right now the process probably costs a lot of money, but eventually you would think it would do that exact thing like you're talking about, especially if they were 3D printed foods.
Hmm.
Those would be the cheap things, and the real OG stuff would be the more expensive stuff.
Exactly.
That would, yeah, make it to me, unless they're going to be like, "Well, that that real food is old news. What you want is stuff made in the lab." I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the idea is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it'll just be one of those that as time goes on, it'll switch.
Yeah,
You know.
probably
Hmm.
in due time. Well, I think we had a great discussion on this.
Hmm.
We've been able to do 2 back-to-back in-person catch-ups.
Hmm.
It's been amazing, man.
Yeah, it's been really great, really, really fun.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we that's the part of our bro trip that we've had here. It's been a wild ride. It's been fun, man.
Yeah.
So.
It has, and it always is a good time. And we love having these conversations in person. It allows us to converse more, um, both on and off camera, but just more interactive for us, and hopefully more interactive for you as well. So we hope you enjoyed this. We certainly did as well, and it won't be as long until the next time we do this for sure.
Hmm.
But thank you guys for jumping on the live stream with us, both on Facebook and on YouTube, and celebrating our 200th and 201st episode with us. This was a great way to ring it in, with, an in-person catch up.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
we appreciate you guys. Thank you for catching up with us. Remember to like, rate, subscribe wherever you're watching or listening, and get you something warm to wear from our Catchup shop. Is
Exactly.
linked down below. Other than that, thank you for catching up with us. We'll catch up with you next week.